Greetings, Batavia Mayor Jeff Schielke speaking to you on Friday, August 5th, 2022. And I'm coming out of a kind of a rough week around here. We've had a lot of different things happen and a lot of conversations with a lot of folks on a variety of subjects. We've got a new business opening out on Randall Road at McKee Street called Slumberland. And they were putting up all kinds of signage on their building. It's in the old Art Van furniture store. And so I'm told they're going to have the complete everything for anything you need when you go to sleep, from the bed springs to the mattresses to the bed boards to the pajamas and robes and to the night lights and to anything you need to sleep. They're going to have it out there, and this is one of just several stores they have in the region, but they're very excited about coming into Batavia, so they'll be opening up here in the near term. We are also having conversations with the several restaurants that are saying that they want to come into Batavia, and we'll see. I'm hesitant to name them and say where they're going to be. The one that has been submitted the plans and is seemingly ready to go is the Culver's Restaurant, which would be start construction there in the parking lot immediately south of the Douglas floor covering place at Mill and Randall. And so then behind, across the street, we have Pulte Homes building the 163 units at the end of Mill and at the end of along the far end of McKee Street. And we've got a lot of activity out there. We continue to have some concerns about the dust in the neighborhood because they're moving that whole field around to make room for 163 houses, so that's no small job. And as a result, they have put up a few dust clouds that have gotten some neighbors excited, so we keep asking them to bring their water trucks out and keep that area watered down. And I take a ride every now and then out there to see how it's going. And the last week or two it's been pretty good, so I'm optimistic that hopefully we're not covering everybody there on the northwest side of Batavia in dust, because that is a big job out there, and that really is going forth. And Pulte is seemingly is a quality builder, and so they seem to respond when we have a concern, so I think that's all good. I think a real troubling factor, not only in Batavia but throughout the region, is this continuing problem we're having with speeding cars. And it seems like right now it may be at an all-time high. And if you've watched the news the last week or so, you've heard of some horrendous, terrible accidents with many fatalities in them involving just cars, and families entirely being burned to death in the car and other things happening. And a lot of it seems to be centered around speed. And so in the case of Batavia, since the last 9 months, going into November of last year when we had that terrible bus car crash out on Hart Road, we really, we had a fatality in that crash, but we had 38 kids on a school bus that survived it seemingly with very little injury, so we really lucked out on that one. I have watched ever since then, and since that accident we've had 4 more fatalities on the streets of Batavia, and that's a total of 5 in the last 9 months, and I am hard-pressed to think of another time in the near past that we have had to have that many deaths on the streets of Batavia. So given that, we've done a couple things. First of all, the Batavia Police Department has done, in my opinion, a good job of watching over speeds, and we've been sitting out writing tickets, and you don't know where they're going to be, or maybe on both sides of town we may have 2 cars dedicated to the task, and we're just not so much wanting to write tickets to get fines as we are getting people to slow down, because it has become a very problematic situation with people speeding too fast. So one of the other things we did, and you've all seen these already, we've had these printed up, the slow the fast down. Now, as I would expect, I've had some citizens come in and send emails and complain about this sign, and they don't like the wording of it and whatever have you, but it seems to have caught on, and a lot of people have come in and asked for this sign so they can put it in their yard. I think we ran pretty low on them for a while. We just got resupplied, and so now we have some. If you still want one, you can get one at the Batavia Public Library, You can go to the administrative office of the Batavia Park District at 327 West Wilson Street, or you can come down to City Hall and we will give you a sign with a stand on it to hold it in the ground. And you can put this in your yard and hopefully help us share this message of please slow down in Batavia, because we've already had some really bad things happen here and we don't want to continue to encourage that. So the signs, and as you may remember, we've issued seemingly almost every year a different speed sign with a different message on it. So this is the 2022 version. Next year I'm sure there'll be a new sign with a new message. But we will, in all instances, be encouraging people to go slow. Another thing that we are planning on September 13th, which is a Tuesday, we're going to have a ribbon cutting, never done this before, of the new creek bed that we put in out on Mahoney Creek along Wintergreen Drive. It starts at Kirk Road, and with some support we got from our friends at Fermilab, they've allowed for a water storage area to be put now on the east side of Fermilab on their property, where a lot of the, obviously the water there is their water, but they're going to help us control its discharge into Batavia. And then we've gone over on the west side of Kirk Road along Wintergreen, and we've also put in all kinds of new holding ponds, and trees were planted to help bring down sound and shield the neighboring houses from it. So it's turned out pretty nice, and we're very proud of it, and we're going to have a public ceremony out there on September 13th. About 5:30 at night, to encourage the neighbors to come out and see it and understand what it is we're doing. And eventually all that water is discharged into the city system and eventually makes its way to the Fox River through the creeks that we have on the south east side of Batavia. So those are kind of the big moments that we have here going that I want to talk about. We continue to have a lot of new people showing up, asking a lot of questions about Batavia, and I'm thinking these new houses that are being built are quickly going to have occupants that are buyers for them. And I know that out at Wind Energy and Kirk Road, we have MI Homes has got a 242 unit attached townhouse development. And I was told last week that almost every one of those is now under contract, some of which are yet to be built. So we are filling up the town. There's not a lot of room left on the east side for much more residential housing. And you get over on the west side, there appears to be room, but at the end of the day, if you get out near Nelson's Lake and Main Street and you see the vacant farm fields there, well, if you start nosing around, you find out that most of those vacant farm fields have been purchased by the Kane County Forest Preserve Commission, and at some future date will probably serve to make up one of the largest forest preserves in Kane County. Will be immediately to the west of Batavia along Main and near the Nelson's Lake intersection. So we've got a lot of things that we're passing on to future generations, and I like to think that there'll be a lot of appreciation and a lot of this good effort with the help of the county board and their leadership is getting some of this good stuff done. So I think we are making progress in Batavia. Sometimes I feel it's slower than I'd like to see, but on the same token, we want to be cautious and make sure we don't do something that really causes a bunch of problems. So we will be continuing to go forward, and I'll report to you in the days and months ahead as other things occur. So have a nice week, and we'll talk to you next week.